Hello again, welcome to episode 15. Continuing to work on the buildings that I've been working on lately. And a couple of things I've been trying to figure out here is where I want stuff. Now, I've said before, this building doesn't really have a prototype. There isn't really a building in Elma that really matches this. Um, I don't think they really have a locomotive service facility in Elma, but I'm, going to have one there because I want to. Anyway, so the interior of this thing, this side you won't be able to see from the layout angle. This side you will be able to see. So I put some interior liner on it, as I talked about in previous videos. Which is just 0.005 styrene. It's all it really needs because the building has plenty of structure otherwise. And I've got some 1/8 inch I-beam here. See if I can get that in focus. And I'm just figuring out how far apart I want to put braces in here. Now, I won't say that I know a ton about architecture. But I do want to make it look at least somewhat realistic. And I'm figuring out that about 8 scale feet apart is good. The only problem is that that tends to run into the middle of windows and doors and stuff like that, as such is life. So I'll be working around that as we go along. I'm trying to cut these pieces so that they have the right height. And I thought about putting rafters in this building, but there's no actual structural reason to do that. It's got plenty of structure without it. And you can't see them. So that's also another reason I don't really want to spend the resources on it. So I probably won't do that. As I'm going along, I'm getting a lot of little pieces that I'm cutting, here. And I'm not just gluing them on, because some of them, basically all of them, are going to need to be painted in some fashion or another. So to that end, I'm going to take a 1 gallon Ziploc bag or something like that, and I think I'm going to gather these pieces together while I get ready to paint them, because a lot of them are going to be the same color, the little pieces. And when you go to prep to paint, you kind of want to do a bunch of that at once if you can. What I've also done with little stuff like this in the past, because I'm spraying it, is kind of double stuck taped it to a piece of cardboard, or used the painter's tape and had the sticky side out and then taped the tape to the cardboard, which is kind of annoying. But if anybody has any other ideas on how to do that, let me know. I'm all ears. Anyway, that's what we're starting with this time around. So hopefully I'll make some progress. It's been a week that is got me going in a lot of other directions. This is a Northwest Shortlines chopper. This is an original one, in case you guys have never seen one, and there's a new version that has some additional stuff to it, like some angled lines and things like that might be helpful. I don't know, I've never really used one. And it's got these pieces here, and it comes with a couple of these angle pieces that kind of help along with things. These are for putting these hold downs in there and then screwing it down. It's pretty handy for something like this where you're trying to make a repeatable length of cut, which I'm going for about 22 scale feet on these supports. So that'll make quick work of this. As I said, taped some blue tape to the back or this piece of cardboard, and then stuck my styrene pieces to it that I made for the supports in the building, And I just decided to go with some gray paint on there, touch that up real quick, and I think it looks pretty good. I might do up some bigger beams for a load for a car later, because I like the way that color looks on there. Taping down parts for the next spray paint job, and the trick is to get these so that the tape is on the side of the piece that I will want to glue to the bottom of the building. And a couple quick passes with the Tamiya AS11, and I think that's going to be just fine for our cement foundation for the engine shop or locomotive house, whatever I want to call it today. So here's those 0.060 and by 0.080 pieces of styrene cut and glued to the bottom of my building. Give it a little foundation. It kind of looks okay. It's not perfect, but I do believe it helps the building out. Okay, so I glued in one of the uprights that I made, and just to see how it looks before I go and glue in the rest. And I think that's going to look great once I get the floor up enough to meet it. And if it doesn't come up enough, I'll just go ahead and shim something underneath there to make that happen. But I think that looks pretty good. It's a lot better than it was. Now I'm just going to work my way down the rest of the wall. I'll see how it looks. I may come back and add some support around the door later. And so I'm just making some faint marks, and the supports will just be on top of those. There's just enough there to let me know where to put it when I'm installing them. So just run a piece of glue down here. I guess many of you probably have done this yourselves, so I hope I'm not boring you to tears right now, but this is just showing you how I'm doing it with adding details to this inexpensive little building. And this is one of my favorite things. I think I've probably said that before, because you don't get to do, oops, slides around of course. Now it's crooked, but if I take my square and I just sort of like put that in there, I can use this to straighten it up, get in the right position, and in a few seconds that thin CA will dry, and that'll just stay there. So far, so good. I've trimmed the shop floor down to where the building now sits nicely on top of it. And I could even do a little bit more, but it's nice and snug right now. Next, I think I'm going to work on some lighting. Well, it's daytime. I turned off the overhead lights in the room so you can get a better idea of what this looks like with the lighting on it. There's the vent, and I like the effect. I'll have to add some interior details at some point, and I still got to work on getting the wire locations completely out of sight. And then, so down below, I've got that connected to that terminal block talked about in the last video. This thing is turning out to be pretty handy, and they've got a different one that's a little more money and has some adjustability to it. I really want to check that out too. So what's really holding me up here is what to do with the track on the left. I've got an inspection pit on the right, and I like that, but I don't think I want two of those. So I'm trying to figure out how I want to lay the track in there on the left-hand side, whether I'm going to um, bury all the ties and rail and all of that, or just cut the flooring and have ties and ballast in there, which I've actually seen a picture of a Canadian shop online that's what they did. It's not really the look I'm going for though, so I think I'm going to end up pausing on this one until I can make a decision. After I did the foundation on the last building, I had an idea and I decided to change some things up. So I went and got some 40 by 80 styrene. So this stuff's about 20 thousandths thinner than the previous stuff I was using, 60 by 80, of course. And then I took the 005 that I was putting on the interior of the building, and I extended it a little bit past the bottom here. So that will allow me to sandwich this 040 behind it. Let's see if I can get there. Yeah, and it'll leave just a little bit of a lip on the bottom, and you probably can't see that in the video. I guess you kind of can. And will allow me to glue this in like it's on a corner. It'll make a stronger joint. It'll make it easier to do too. And I think that's going to give me a better result than I got on the last building. We'll see how that works out. I wasn't getting great 45-degree angle cuts with the chopper, and I wasn't all that happy with that. And I did a little online search, and one of the guys mentioned something that I thought I had, which turns out I don't actually have it. And then while I was looking for that, I found my micro-miter box from Micromark. This little thing right here has 45 and 30-degree slots on it, and I also have this ultra-fine saw. Now this blade's actually broken on the end, but that's okay. The cutting edge is still good. And I find that putting this in here, holding it against one of the fences, taking the saw and running it just once across there, cuts this material at a nice 45. It's nice and straight. I'm trying to show this in the video. I'm not having much success. But anyway, there you go. That's what I was looking for, and I actually had the tool. Well, I like the way the foundation is coming along. This new idea that I had, well, new to me anyway, is working out quite well. I like it. So I'll go ahead and finish this up, and I'll call that it for this episode. Guys, take care. See you next time.